It's time to go!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Claude and the Banksters. Sorry, we're a little bit late, a little bit of technical problems there, but hopefully we're all good now. I hope everyone in the chat's well. Nice to see some of our regulars. We've got Harry, we've got Sam, we've got Omar, we've got Melina, Master Fighter, Gio, Yaz, Alison, CG, Dugout Football Channel. Oh, excellent. We've got to call this out. Sorry, boys. Got to call this out straight away. Harry, thank you very much for your super chat and contribution, mate. Really appreciate it. Hi, guys. I think I talk on behalf of everyone. I look forward to every video. The time and effort to put smiles on people's faces, especially through the toughest time. I'll back you all the way and keep grinding, and hopefully one day you'll get to where you want to be. Come on, you Gunners. Harry, that is so
thank you.
Mate. Really
thank you so much, Harry. That's very nice. Thank you very much.
Really appreciate that, mate.
So much,
yeah, I mean, you gave a good contribution on Sunday early morning and all. Really appreciate your continued support, mate. Right, so this is our review.
Thank you, Harry.
This is our review, the Premier League show. Got some great guests with us tonight. We've got Joe from Burnley supporter. How you doing, Joe?
Yeah, not bad. Yourself, there?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Shout out yourself and give us where we can find you.
Yeah, so I run a podcast and we've just started up as a YouTube channel. It's called Turfcast. I'm quite big on I say big for Burnley on Facebook and stuff like that. Just recently started the YouTube channel, so we're just trying to get that going. But it is just Turfcast at the minute. You just get vodcasts and thing on there, but we're going to try and branch out and do more.
Oh, excellent, mate. And if we can support you in any way and get some of our supporters over there, then we'll help, Joe. Thanks for being our representation of Burnley.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for asking me, buddy.
That's all right. And we've also got Addy, who's a big Bournemouth fan. How you doing, Addy?
Hi,
you
guys.
okay,
I'm good. I hope everyone's well, keeping well. Messaging you from actually the first time I can say sunny Bournemouth and actually mean it.
It's nice. I hope you're social distancing, Addy.
I am social distancing. I think the nearest person's more than 2 miles away. I'm good.
Excellent. We really appreciate you being our Bournemouth representation too, mate.
No problem, guys. Happy to be involved.
We was supposed to have Matt Jackson, a Brighton fan on tonight's show. Unfortunately, he's been called out to work, but he will definitely be our representation for the Brighton. And hopefully, in the next sort of couple of weeks, we'll be able to get him on again, and we'll be able to introduce him to you. Also, I've got my fellow Bansta with us tonight. He's got his cap on, not showing his baldy head. It's Diesel. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, all good, mate. I only wear this because I wear it for Gio. That's why I wear it, because he always comments on my bald head. Now, listen, thanks to Joe, Addy, lads. Appreciate you two coming on. Massively appreciate it. Looking forward to it. Feels like I've not done a podcast in ages. Hello to everyone in the chat. I'll never forget you guys. Hope you're well. Love you all. And just a quick message to Harry Osman. Harry, that is an absolutely lovely comment, mate. And that really means a lot. All joking aside, real talk, that means a lot. Especially, obviously, the tough times that we're having at the moment. So to read a comment like that, forget the money. It's about the comment for me. Much appreciated, mate. And that means a lot. And thanks for the follow on Twitter. Much appreciated. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
And just before I come to you, Claude, I just wanted to ask you, Diesel, does it mean when you wear the cap, the bed is open?
It's always open, man. It's always open. You know that.
Put the cap on. Put the cap on. Show everyone the cap. Come on.
It's on. What are you talking about?
We'll do that another time. We'll do that another time, Claude. We'll do that another time. Also, obviously, we got the legend himself. It's Claude. How you doing, Claude?
Not too bad. Thanks to the boys for coming on tonight. Thank you for. We've got a Bournemouth fan and what else we got? Burnley fan as well.
Burnley, yeah.
So it's a real relegation dogfight tonight then.
Listen, it weren't too far from it that we was there at one stage in during this season, Claude.
Yeah, well, yeah, we won't talk about this season for us anyway. But it's interesting times. I've been to Bournemouth twice this season, and the second time
Yeah.
we was behind the goal for the cup game, and it took me 40 minutes to get a cup. It took me 40 minutes to get a cup of coffee. There was no alcohol being served, and 40 minutes to get a cup of coffee at your ground this season.
It's these small grounds, mate. These League Two grounds. You got to wait.
I tell you what, it's they've done incredible with what they've done to stay up there.
That's what it is at these smaller grounds. You got to really. I mean, we've been talking about getting a new ground for a while, but with these little grounds, I hope the wait was worth it.
Yeah, well, it weren't the greatest cup of coffee either. Anyway, never mind.
We've had the journey. Obviously, I've been supporting them since the darkest days, really. And I mean, if we're going to talk about the journey we've had is probably one of the best. I would say in all the leagues, from where we was to where we are now. Hopefully, I would say that I would say. Was it not?
Now, having said that, they've got some good players, and you're going to lose a lot of good players in the summer, probably like Ryan Fraser now on a free transfer. But you've got the returning David Brooks that should help you in the running. Yeah. You've got the returning David Brooks. David Brooks is returning, so that should help you in the running.
I think we. Can
you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
I was saying that you've got David Brooks in the running. That should help you in the running. Coming back. I don't think you can hear me, can he?
No. Addy,
you got who? So hang on. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Go on, Claude. Say it again, mate.
I was saying you've got the returning David Brooks coming in. That should boost you up in the running.
I don't think he likes David Brooks.
Yeah, definitely. It's we've had him out for a while now, and what he can bring to our squad, especially at this time where we really, what he can bring. I mean, he's a fantastic player, and what he can bring for us when we really need the points at the moment. I think he just having him back just lifts the morale of the whole team. So I'm glad to have him back.
Addy, while we're talking about Bournemouth at the moment, what's your feelings on and the fans' feelings of Eddie Howe still? Can you hear us, Addy?
There's a lot of problems with this tonight.
Addy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I said, while we're talking about Bournemouth, what is your opinions and the Bournemouth fans' opinions of Eddie Howe still?
Eddie Howe, well, for me personally, I've backed him the whole way. There has been some fans that have had the opinion where he really needs to change how we've used sort of like the same, what's the word I'm looking for? The same sort of ethics as when we was in League Two. And League One, and I think a lot of fans have said you really need to move with the times, and you might have to change your style of play to fit with the Premier League. And then we have another group of fans that just completely trust in him and his quality and what he's done, and seem to back him. So it's really from a Bournemouth sort of point of view, it's really split. Me personally, I would back him 100%. But it's all about results at the end of the day, isn't it? So we'll have to see how the season pans out, really.
No, exactly. You're totally right. And how do you think your season's gone this season so far, Addy? I mean, you've had a lot of injuries, haven't you?
We've had a massive problem with injuries. I mean, we've had, like you said before, Brooksy out, a number of players. Obviously, we're not where we want to be, obviously. But we've not we are still in with a chance. I mean, we're only in the relegation zone on goal difference. So it's not like we've left ourselves, too far away from staying up. Personally, I think we'll do it. But it's so close at the moment, and obviously everything's changed now. So we'll have to see. Fingers crossed, we'll be all right.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do like Bournemouth, and I hope you stay up, mate. So let's see how the. I mean, what's your remaining fixtures?
Fingers crossed.
What's your remaining fixtures like, Addy? Can you hear me, Addy?
Blimey, that bad?
Hang on, mate. You'll have to repeat that.
I said, what's your remaining fixtures like?
Well, I just got my ticket. We've got Wolverhampton away. Then I think we've got Man United away. And then we have quite an easy as well. I'm not sure. I think we might have Palace, a couple of Newcastle as well. A couple of ones where I think, we could. It's not the hardest run of fixtures, but I mean, yeah, I can hear you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to you, Joe.
Yeah, I was saying that.
Oh, okay.
It's not really the hardest run of. Yeah, as I said, we got Wolves and Man United our next two games, I think, off the top of my head. And then we have a couple of home games. There'll be no one there. I think we've got Brighton as well in there. So a couple of big games. Yeah, I think Bournemouth Brighton will be a big game. Once we can get Wolves away and Man United away, I mean, if we could take anything from them two games, I think it would be great. And then obviously we've got a couple of juicy fixtures in that. What I like to call, the 6 pointers, the make or break fixtures, which will probably decide the season.
Yeah. No, well said. Well, I've got a super chat here from Jibbs. He's put, thank you for your contribution. He's put, rest in peace, George Floyd. We're all with you, mate. Black lives do matter. So, I need to get it sorted out over there. I don't know what's going on with the police and that, but they need to get their life sorted out because every life matters. It's not just black lives. Every life matters. It doesn't matter who it is. But we're with you. We're with you. And he said, rest in peace also, Reyes. Joe,
yeah.
Joseph Reyes.
Yeah.
Joe, what's how do you think Burnley's done this season under Sean Dyche?
Yeah, well, we're 10th at the minute, and obviously every single season, majority of pundits have us going down or near the relegation. Obviously, at the moment, we're nowhere near the relegation zone, and haven't been really for quite a long time. There was one particular game against Villa on New Year's Day that a few fans were starting to think, hey, we could be in a bit of trouble here, but we never really were in any trouble. It was just a bit of a bad run of results, but then we turned the corner when we beat Leicester the week after, and then we've never really been in any trouble, and now we're 10th. Like I say, some people are even including us in the European sort of like Europa League sort of like conversations. Personally, I think that's a little bit too far. We might get 8th, obviously, with Manchester City being banned from the Champions League potentially, depending on how their thing goes. Then we might finish 8th, but again, I think that'll probably be a little bit too far. I think 10th is probably a good position for us at the minute, and I think we've done well so far.
I think you've done fantastic. I mean, how would you feel personally if Sean Dyche does go at the end of the season to a different team? Because there has been a lot of talk about it, isn't there?
Yeah, it's one of them. Like, obviously, you don't want him to go because if you look at our recruitment, look at the last time we were in the Premier League in a different manager when Owen Coyle left halfway through the season. There was no ambition shown by the board whatsoever. They just decided to go for Brian Laws, who'd recently been sacked by Sheffield Wednesday. So I would be very, very worried if he left. But it's one of them where you can't really begrudge him. It's say like if a club like Everton came in, you'd expect him to go somewhere like that, and you can't really begrudge him. But that obviously doesn't mean that we don't want him to go.
Yeah. I mean, if it did happen, Joe, I mean, who would you be looking at coming in?
I don't know. It's not something that we've. I'd like eventually Joey Barton. Obviously, he's a Burnley legend, but I don't think he's done enough yet. He's only at Fleetwood. I no disrespect to Fleetwood, but he's not done enough. Same with Michael Duff as well. He's not done enough, but he's at Cheltenham. So I'm not too sure. Knowing Burnley, they would go for an out-of-work manager. I wouldn't necessarily mind Alex Neil at Preston. He's done an all right job, and they're not far away from the playoffs and stuff. But obviously, there's a bit of rivalry between Burnley and Preston, and he's obviously in work. But Burnley are now in a position where they should be able to go into a championship club and say, "We want your manager," and get him. But it's just the ambition, whether the board will show that ambition or not. But yeah. In an ideal world, we wouldn't have to have that conversation, and we would keep Dash for another couple of years. But there's going to be clubs banging on doors soon enough. And it's the same with Eddie Howe as well. I'm surprised Eddie Howe hasn't, no one's come in and said, right, we're having you. It's the same with him. I'm obviously, we're in a similar position to Bournemouth. I think if Eddie Howe left Bournemouth, they'd be in trouble. If Dash left Burnley, we'd be in trouble as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with where you're coming from.
I agree with you, mate.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, just a throw out question. Would either of you take either as manager?
Take who, sorry?
Would you take Eddie Howe's and...
Well, obviously, we've already had Eddie Howe, haven't we?
You nicked him off us already.
We took him off Bournemouth when they're in League One, I think, or they'd just been promoted to League One. And then, obviously, Eddie Howe, I'm not sure if you're aware, he had quite a few personal troubles. He missed Bournemouth. I think his mum died as well, and he missed being at home. And then Bournemouth, whoever was the manager there at the time, left. So they just said... Eddie, I wanted to go back, and Burnley were like, we're not going to stand in your way if you want to go back. Obviously, if you miss home and you're missing your family and stuff, go back. And then that's when we got Sean Dyche, and obviously it worked out for both clubs, so everyone's happy.
Exactly. Addy, would you take Sean Dyche?
Do you know what? Yeah, I would. I think he's really proven himself to be a really decent Premier League manager. So yeah, not in a night. I mean, I'd rather stick with Eddie Howe, but if we didn't have Eddie Howe, I think I would.
Yeah. Well, Joe, just quickly, what's your coming pictures like for the rest of the season?
Not too bad, really. We do have to play Manchester City and Liverpool, both away from home. But we have Watford at home as well. We have Palace at home, so there are winnable games in there. But the games that we will struggle in as well. But they're not too bad. And like I said, we're not gonna finish in the European places probably, and we're not gonna go down definitely. So it's not really, the Burnley fans haven't really been pushing like desperately for the return of the season. Like, obviously, we want to see football, everybody does, but it's not like we need to win to stay up or we need to win to get into Europe. It's just we're in mid-table now, and we'll probably finish in mid-table.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Diesel, how do you think these two teams have done, Burnley and Bournemouth this season?
No, do you know what? I've just got up the Premier League table, right? And I think Burnley are 10th. Yeah, they're literally 1 point behind us.
Yeah.
So I don't know of any Arsenal fan who can afford to take the piss out of Burnley, if I'm honest, when they're literally a point behind us.
I don't like looking at that. Come on.
Mate, Addy, you're not on your own. Trust me, mate. I'm with you.
I'm not looking at
it. but come to think of it, they are safe, aren't they? They are safe. I thought they were.
Yeah, easily.
I'm saying relegation dogfight, but they're not. They're a bit. I think they're safe, aren't they?
Yeah, we haven't lost a game since January. We lost 3-0 at the Bridge in January. That's the last time we lost a game.
Yeah. No, you are safe. I'm just looking at your points. You're only a point behind us. So if you're in danger, we are as well. So I'll take that back, actually. Because you're not in a bad position, actually.
Yeah, we'll be fine. I think if Brighton goes on as well, then it definitely be a relegation dogfight sort of chat with Brighton and Bournemouth both in it. But yeah, we're definitely safe.
Well, I think 40 points is the one to get through, isn't it? If you get through 40 points.
Yeah, that's what they say. I reckon this season 38, and I think we probably already have enough, to be honest. But obviously, you'd like more just to be sure. But yeah, they do say 40.
Yeah. Because I can't see this. What's the third from bottom? I've got 30. 20. How much have Villa got? How many points? I can't see the table clearly.
Well, Villa have got 25 points, but they've got a game in hand, haven't they? So they've got to play their game in hand against Sheffield United. So if they won that, then they'd be on the same points as Bournemouth, Watford, and West Ham.
Yeah, so they're quite clear, aren't they? They're all clear. Yeah, I don't think there's. I think it's just Watford is the team, isn't it? That look in a dangerous situation, and it's going to be between that lot. Yeah, yeah. I fear for Bournemouth on there. I do fear for Bournemouth. Fear for Bournemouth. No.
I was going to say.
Yeah. I know we've got a Bournemouth guy in here, but I don't know. They'll have to pull a few results out anyway. Out the bag.
Do you know what?
Sorry,
we pulled the results out against the big teams.
Yeah. If you beat, did you say you got Man United soon?
Yeah, we've got Man United. We've got Wolves away, which is a tough one. But like I say, we've had some against the bigger clubs. I think we've beat Chelsea this season. We went to Anfield. We only lost 2-1 and played really well at Anfield. So I mean, I think we also beat Man United this season on my birthday as well. So like I say, some of the big teams we play well against. So like I say, it's on the day. Who wants it more, really?
Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah, because
if Aston Villa win, they do go above Bournemouth, Watford, and West Ham because they'll be on 28 points. So that will put
West Ham ain't out of danger either, are they? Really? To be honest,
West Ham are in dire straits. Diesel, what's your?
I think anyone from.
Sorry, Addy, go on.
I was just going to say, I think anyone from about Brighton downwards, I think they're those ones that us as Bournemouth fans are looking towards, thinking, we can finish above you if we get some all right results. I think any higher, I think it's a bit out of our league.
Yeah, Diesel, what's your thoughts on Bournemouth?
Listen, I can't lie because Addy's on this stream. I'll be honest. I've always said, like, no offense, Addy. I look at the table now and I look at the teams, and for me, obviously, Norwich are gone. In my opinion, be a miracle if they escape it. I think Villa will go down, and I quite like Villa, unfortunately, So, but I think they will go down. And if I'm honest, I think Bournemouth will. Reason being, I'm looking at it, and I think Watford will just about get out of it, and I think West Ham will escape it. And I'm looking at I think Brighton are. Well, saying that Brighton are only on 29. I think it'll be between Brighton and Bournemouth. I think the thing with Bournemouth, is, as you say, I think injuries. I mean, obviously, we know as much as you guys. It hurts us with injuries, but with your team, injuries have really hurt you. A lot of your what I would call key players have been out for a while. When you look at it, you think, where are the goals coming from?
You're right.
And I think that's what's going to cripple you. If I'm honest, it's the injuries.
You're right.
Jazza said Brighton have 4 from the top 6 in a row. It may damage them.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The games come. So I mean, for Brighton, we've got four of the top 6, as she's saying, or he's saying.
Yeah, I think if we're going to choose someone, I think Brighton will get dragged into it, definitely. I think, like Diesel says, Norwich are gone. I can't see Villa getting out of it. They're in terrible form. Well, I don't know if form's going to carry on. Form could just completely restart, but they were in terrible form. I honestly think, I'm not just saying this to the Addies in here, I think Bournemouth might get out of it. And it's Brighton's running that worries me. I think Brighton will get dragged into it. They've tried to change the style of play. And whether it's really worked or not, I guess you'd say it wouldn't, because they're obviously in a relegation battle. But like you said, they've got to play. Is it 4 of the top 6? The lad just said. That's horrendous when there's only 9 games left. So I think Brighton are in big trouble.
All right, let's start with you, Diesel, quickly. From that league table, who's the 3 that's going down?
In my opinion, Norwich, Villa, and Bournemouth.
So the way it is now, yeah.
Yeah, the way it is now.
Joe?
Norwich, Villa, and I'm going to say Brighton.
Okay. And Addy?
I'm going to be a bit controversial. I'm going to go Norwich, Watford, and Brighton.
Wow. So you're saying Villa and yourselves will get out of it, and Watford and Brighton will be in there, yeah?
Yeah.
All
You'll
right.
have to invite me on at the end of the season and see if I'm right.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. We'll definitely do that.
Actually, don't. I'll probably be crying. I'll be too upset.
You won't answer your phone if you go down.
I'll be too upset when we finish bottom. Don't.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go Norwich. Norwich are down and out, unfortunately, for them. I think it's going to be really hard for Villa to get out. I mean, they're going to be playing Sheffield United next as their game in hand. I mean, like I've been saying, though, you know, it's like it's going to be like the beginning of the season when we come back in the next couple of weeks. So, you know, you always get a couple of controversial results. So you never know. Do you know what I mean? They've only got to get 2 wins on a bounce, and then that puts you more or less right out of it. So I don't know. I'm definitely going to go for Brighton. I think Brighton, unfortunately, might not escape this if they've got to play 4 of the top 6. So I'm going to go Norwich. Unfortunately, I'm going to say Bournemouth just because of the injuries you've got. And hopefully, you know, I mean, hopefully they're all back now, Addy. But I'm going to go Norwich, Bournemouth, and Brighton. Unfortunately for me, I hope I'm wrong, mate, because I do like Bournemouth. So I hope you do stay up. But I hope I'm wrong, mate. So, Joe, give us your opinion on the Arsenal.
On who? Sorry,
on Arsenal, on us.
I think it's been like a season of transition, hasn't it? Because obviously you've gone to Arteta and things like that. So it's one of them. I think just consolidate yourselves this season. I reckon try and not finish below Tottenham's probably going to be your main aim. I think so you can get bragging rights and then try and push on next season. Because I think if you give Arteta enough time, I think eventually I think he'll turn it around personally. But it's still quite new, so who knows? But looking at Arsenal so far this season, I think the signs of improvement have been there since Arteta's come in, and I think eventually you can start to push on, definitely. But I think obviously just write this season off, try and finish above Tottenham, and then just push on next season, try and get back into the top 6, top 4 especially. Joe,
I'll tell you what, that's more common sense than some Arsenal fans, mate.
Well, every fan base has got them, though, haven't they? Every fan base has got them.
I was just about to say, you might want to change that top and put an Arsenal one on, mate.
I don't know about that,
mate. Jazza said, West Ham v Villa, last game of the season. Wow.
That's a big one.
What a great game that would be.
We've got Brighton on the last game of the season, so we could send Brighton down, and it's at Turf Moor as well. So as everyone knows, it's a tough game going to Turf Moor. If they go to Turf Moor needing a win, having said that, we won't have anything to play for, so that could work in their favour. But there's going to be a lot of big games at the end of the season, I think.
Yeah, definitely. You're definitely right. There's going to be some great games.
Come on, Burnley.
Yeah. Try and do Eddie our favour.
Addy, what's your opinion? Addy, what's your opinion on Arsenal this season?
On Arsenal, I've pretty much got to say the same. Like I say, write the season off. I think you should have a better season next season, given Arteta a little bit more time. I think the same. Try and finish above Tottenham for the bragging rights. Write this season off. Next season, obviously, we're all on a fresh start, and hopefully, you can aim for the top 5. I'll say top 5, maybe.
Oh,
but yeah, definitely for this season. I'm only saying that because you are all on there. But definitely write the season off. Right this season. I'll finish above Tottenham if you can, and then next season start again.
Okay, Claude, can you hear us?
Sorry about that, boys. My internet's really gone tonight. I do apologise. I can stay on another 5. Sorry. What was you saying?
We were saying, can you see the league table there?
Yeah.
We were saying, what one of them 3 do you reckon will be relegated, Claude?
Well, I think the 3 at the moment all 3 at the moment are the ones favourites for me. Possibly.
Oh, come on, Claude.
No, I'm being honest. I think Bournemouth could do it. You know, with Eddie Howe at the helm, you know, he might pull a few strokes. He might just get them out and push Watford maybe into that position. But it's going to be hard. But we'll see. we shall see. I'm only being honest.
No, that's fair enough, Claude. That's fair enough.
I love it. To be honest with you, I think that they've done incredible to be up there, and for the last couple of seasons, actually, they've done really well to stay in the league. I mean, they've 11,000 crowds. You know, it's hard. It's very difficult, but they've done really well today. But I think also next season they're going to lose Fraser, aren't they? That'd be a blow to them. He's going on a free, isn't he? So they're going to have to do a lot of work to.
Apparently, you guys are after him. Apparently, Arsenal are after him.
I think he's Tottenham. I think he's Tottenham bound. He's a Tottenham fan, isn't he? So I think he'd be Tottenham bound.
Addy, just out of curiosity, what is your opinions on him as a player?
As a player, I think, yeah. I mean, for us, the first, as for assists went, he was up there with, you know, some of the top players. This season, if I'm honest, he hasn't really looked like he wanted to be involved. I don't know whether it's his morale's took a real low because he's not scoring the goals and he's not up where he was last season.
Addy,
for us, it'll be disappointing. I don't think he's a key player where we're going to miss him like loads. I mean, good luck to the boy. Wherever he goes, as long as he.
Addy, you keep breaking up, mate. Can you find a place if you can?
Score against us.
Addy, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Addy?
Terry.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Terry, I do apologise. I've got to go off, mate.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'd like to wish all the boys well, the Burnley and Bournemouth boys well for the season. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Sorry about my bad internet tonight, boys.
Yeah, that's all right, mate. That's all right.
And I wish you all well. And, you know, I hope you do stay up, Bournemouth. I hope they stay up for you, Addy. I hope they stay up. There we go.
Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Addy, if you can you just find a spot to sit down for 5 seconds? We can't. You keep breaking up. We can't hear you.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just sit down here. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. We can hear you all right. It's just that obviously when you're walking, we can't hear you. It keeps breaking up. Joe.
Yeah. No worries. I'll stay here.
Joe, if you could take one of our players, who would you want to take, mate?
It's got to be Aubameyang. He's class, isn't he? I think Aubameyang's probably the top player for me at Arsenal. Obviously, he's the one that gets. I think. Apologies if I'm wrong, but I presume he's got most of the goals this season. He's just head and shoulders above. He's one of them players that stands out in the entire league. I think is Aubameyang. So yeah, I think obviously it never happened. Wages would be a massive issue, but obviously I think I'd definitely take him. Definitely.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Joe, quick question: if it wasn't for Aubameyang, who else would you take? Just out of curiosity.
Probably. I'll take Lacazette because he's like a better Chris Wood, a bit of a battering ram. So I would take him. I don't think I'd take any of the defenders if I'm being brutally honest. That's probably it. Obviously, Ozil's obviously class as well, but.
Oh, Joe, you know what? We were getting on, and you've just ruined it, man. Blimey. Oh, Joe.
Yeah, honestly, it might be a bit controversial, but I don't think I'd take any of your defenders. I think our defenders... I don't know if it's the system or what. I don't know if it's a system that we play where we're so compact and we do the block tackles, and obviously you guys have done different, so you'll get exposed a bit more than us. But James Tarkowski especially, I mean, I love all of our back five, but James Tarkowski and Ben Mee, brilliant partnership. You've got Taylor on the left and Matty Lawton / Phil Bardsley on the right, and obviously Popey in the net as well. I love Popey, he's a class keeper, and I think Popey, to be honest, should be somebody, not that I'm going to try and sell off my own players or anything, but should be somebody that teams like Arsenal could be looking at in the next couple of years. Because Popey is going to get a move, let's be honest. He's not going to be at Burnley forever. He wants to break into the England side and wants to dislodge Jordan Pickford. So if he wants to do that, even if we stay in the Premier League, he's going to have to move. I'm a bit realistic about stuff like that. It's someone that you should probably be looking at in a couple of years.
Well, definitely keep more of an eye on him. Gunnar Stavislav, he said, Terry, do you think Liverpool will finish on 100 points? I do think you can do, mate. What you on now? You're on 82 points. So you need another 18 points from, 9 games. So that's, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be, don't forget, like I said, you're easily going to get win the 2 games that you need to win the league, which you're easy do. You've been outstanding this season. You totally deserve it, mate. It'd be nice to actually get it all over and done with and see you actually pick up the trophy now, because it's been a long time coming. You've got a great side there, great manager. If you reach the 100 points or not, I mean, that is quite a lot of points to get out of 9 games. You more or less got to win most of them. So, and at the moment, you know what I mean, it's like the start of a season. So who knows how you're going to start straight after this break. So hopefully, mate, you can do. What about you, Diesel?
Yeah, do you know what? Listen, Liverpool have only lost 1 game all season. You know, the sky's the limit with that team at the moment on what they can do. If someone was to ask me, do you think Liverpool could do this, this season or do that this season? Who am I to say no? Because they've exceeded all our expectations. They've been absolutely brilliant. You know, they've blown us all away, if we're honest, if we're taking the bias out of it. My whole thing is, I'm looking at it and it's very hard to call. It's like we just had that question about the relegation. But with no fans, I'd be very interested to see how these teams go, because fans, for me, are integral to the game of football. You know, fans are the people who drag their teams through in the last 15, 20 minutes when their bodies are knackered. You know, and to not have that, the atmosphere, to not have the fans chanting your name, the old saying of the fans being the 12th man. Will that favour the bigger teams more so than the teams at the bottom? I don't know. But I can see there being a few shocks in these last 8 games, if I'm honest. I really can.
Yeah.
You know.
Gio said, guys, have you seen a picture of Torreira looking ripped? I have, mate. I have seen him. He looks in great condition. To be honest, he weren't in bad condition anyway, but this has probably done him the world of good, to be honest. Building himself up. He definitely needed it. But I really like him. I do really like him. I think he's going to be a great player. If we can get a player like Partey alongside him, I think that partnership would be brilliant. What about you, Diesel?
Yeah, like, I've seen the picture. He looks ripped. You know, to be honest, I couldn't care if he's short and lanky, mate. For me, it's all about what he does on the pitch. If being ripped and having all that muscle improves his performance, then yeah, let's see it. Because at the moment, it looks to me like he can't complete a 90-minute game. So let's hope he can.
Yeah. Addy, let's come to you first. Bournemouth transfer window. Have you heard any rumours? What they're going to be doing? Anything or what?
To be honest, I don't think so. It's tough for us to attract the sort of players we need to, if we're gonna stay in the Premier League. At the moment, there was a time where people were loving the fact of coming to Bournemouth, but I think it's going to be hard for us to bring anyone in at the moment. But with the injuries we have back, having David Brooks back, it will feel like a new signing. So that's all we have to go with at the moment.
If you could get one signing in, who would it be, Addy?
For me, we definitely need a really strong goal scorer. as with probably all teams do. We need someone up there with Wilson. Who would I say? I really don't. Probably one of the top end scorers in the Championship. I think that could be like a realistic. Maybe look at like Leeds or Brentford. Some of the Brentford lads are doing well. I think that's realistically all we get. I'd like to have Saka from you lads, but realistically, I think we need to be looking the higher end of the Championship.
Yeah, I agree with you. What about yourself, Joe?
I think for us, I think you've got to be looking at right back. As much as I love Matty Lawton, he's getting a little bit older now, and obviously the backup is Phil Bardsley, who is already pretty old in terms of footballer, obviously. I think we definitely need to strengthen in right back, and there's been a few rumours of Jayden Bogle at Derby County, but I would imagine that there are quite a few Premier League clubs interested in him. We need to be careful, I think, with Burnley. I think we need to make sure that James Tarkowski, if he does leave, he's replaced well, because he's only got a year left on his contract. And for me, he's our best player. He's absolutely class, this Tarky. And again, another one that's in the England setup and should probably be recognised a bit more for me. And we need to make sure that Dwight McNeil doesn't leave as well, because he's the only person that really gets on the ball and drags the Burnley squad up the pitch, really. So I think for us, it's more about trying to keep hold of them two, especially. But I think I'm kind of resigned to losing Tarky this summer because of the contract situation. It's only 1 year left, so I don't think he'll sign a new one. And I think it'll be a case of Burnley will try and cash in now while he can before he leaves on a free.
Yeah, just is right here. If you need a right back, how about Bellerin?
Unfortunately, Burnley don't pay more than 40 grand a week, so I don't think Bellerin will be interested in that.
No, Joe, we'll pay you to take him.
Man City did that with Joe Hart, and that didn't work out very well, did it?
Oh, yeah, Joe Hart, yeah. No, you're right. Diesel, do you want to ask anything, mate?
No, do you know what? I did want to make a point just in relation to what Joe said. Is that, and there's a comment from Yaz, and it sort of touches on what I was going to say, right? That comment there, and it's a case of, I mean, Joe, your manager, right? I've always rated Sean Dyche. I've been very open in saying that.
Yeah.
And I get some Arsenal fans who laugh at that, right? Because we are we are a very arrogant fan base. Yeah. I don't care what anyone says we are, right? Or the majority of us are anyway. I look at a manager like Sean Dyche, and for me, because he's an unfashionable name, I put it like that. He deserves. You guys have spent very little money. Us guys at Arsenal, we moan all the time. We don't spend enough. And if you look at it, we actually do spend a lot of money. We do. We buy very poorly, right? You guys don't spend literally next to nothing. And that man somehow keeps you guys in the most competitive league in the world, right? And for me, he needs to be given his props, and he needs to be given respect. Same with Eddie Howe, right? Yeah. But Sam Allardyce said it, didn't he? If these guys had foreign surnames, they would get the top jobs. And what I would say, Tarkowski, Ben Mee, right, Matty Lowton. Good players, yeah, but in football there's snobbery. You know what I'm saying? And when I look at the England squad, some of these players, I mean, Tarkowski is in the England squad now. For me, he got in there too late. He should have been in there a bit earlier, because he's been doing the business for the last few years, in my opinion, right? But because he plays for Burnley.
100%.
And I don't care what anyone says, there is a snobbery in football. That is a fact. If Tarkowski played for Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, he would have been in there time ago, right? And I just want to say, for you guys, I mean, we sit here moaning obviously at the Arsenal, but you guys, you've got some right good players there. And the reason why I asked you, other than Aubameyang, who would you take, is because I wanted to see if you guys would have hesitated. Because years ago, you could have reeled off 8 or 9 names.
I could have said the entire 30-man Arsenal squad, and you'd have taken every single one at Burnley, but times changed.
Exactly.
Lone Star Londoner has said, would Burnley or Bournemouth guys take Mustafi, David Luiz, Chambers, Kosniak, or Socrates?
I definitely wouldn't take Louise. I think Louise is far too erratic. He won't fit. I don't think any of them would fit for us, to be honest. I think you look at the difference in Burnley and Arsenal and the style. Even Bournemouth, like Arsenal and Bournemouth, are quite similar in what they try and do and the way that they try and play football. But Burnley aren't. Burnley do it in a completely different style. So that's why I don't think a lot of Arsenal players will probably fit into the Burnley system. Like you said, Diesel, this time 10 years ago, we'd have changed our system to fit these players in it, But obviously now we've got our identity, and Dash has got his own way. I don't think they'd fit into our system. That's why I said I probably would take Lacazette, because even though he's probably not the main guy at Arsenal, I think he'd do a good job like Chris Wood does, how he just gets the ball down, wins the headers, just shoves defenders off. I think he would suit the system. But I think for them guys, especially like David Luiz and stuff, he just wouldn't. And as well with Dyche as well, he don't just buy players, he buys people as well. Like he tries to get into their personality before he buys players. Like they have to be certain type of people, and David Luiz especially isn't that type of person.
No, I totally agree.
What about you, Addy?
For me, it's totally the same. Exactly what Joe said. I think the smaller clubs sort of have the same values when it comes to, we don't really buy names, we buy players and personalities. And I think the big clubs, they go in for the big names. I mean, they are great players, but I have found from the lower end clubs, we do buy more people that will fit around the squad and fit in with how Eddie Howe works. We look more into that rather than the name, really. So if I'm honest, no, I wouldn't take them. Not saying they're not good players and they wouldn't benefit us, but it's just not how we do things at Bournemouth and Burnley. I'm sure the same with a lot of, your Villas, your Brightons. So it'd be no from me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, no. Listen, I don't blame you, boys. we have to watch this shit every week. You know what I mean? I don't know about you, people.
No, listen, I can't. The thing is, actually, you can't argue. You can't argue, can you? I just find it. Obviously, we've got a Burnley fan and a Bournemouth fan turning their nose up at a lot of our players, and rightly so, because we do. Because we're not deluded, boys. We know the vast majority of the players we've got are just not good enough. They're not. And we come from an era where we've seen proper players. And because of that, our benchmark is high.
Yeah.
A lot of Arsenal fans drop them. We won't.
Yeah.
So we know what a proper player is, and at the moment, we're not really seeing them, to be honest. So
it's been terrible. So what's your expectations then for the next season, Joe?
The rest of this season, I just think it'll be a case of just consolidating that mid-table position, really. I think, like I said, if we can get 8th, brilliant. But that would probably mean leapfrogging you and or Tottenham, which I don't think we'll probably do. I think Sheffield United as well. I think they're currently 7th or 6th, and there's Man United around there as well. So it'd be a very difficult task. But I think for us, it's just consolidating that mid-table position. We're more than safe already, as you said, as you saw with league table earlier. So there's no worries. There's no massive buzz for football to be back because of what we can achieve this season. Obviously, there's buzz for football to be back because we all love watching football, and we've all missed Burnley or Arsenal or Bournemouth. We've all missed it, so there is that buzz. But in terms of the season, just play it out, finished between 10th and 12th, and then push on next season, hopefully.
Yeah, and what's your expectations for next season? What are you looking for next season?
Again, it depends on if Tarky stays, if Dwight stays, Nick Pope, and the main one being Sean Dyche. But I think if we hit a lot of people, obviously we finished 7th 2 seasons ago, and obviously it went under the radar a little bit, but it was such a massive achievement. Like Wolves finished 7th the season after, and it was absolutely everywhere. But we finished 7th the season before, and barely people spoke about it. All right, the Europa League campaign didn't go very well. I fully admit that. I went to Olympiacos myself and saw them capitulate mainly because of the referee, to be fair, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
But I think we can. I'd like to win something because I know everyone like who doesn't support Burnley sees them as just a small, like if you go on Twitter, irrelevant club. But we've been in the Premier League for 6 out of the last 10 seasons now, and we saw like Stoke get into FA Cup finals, Hull City, and things like that, and teams. Swansea City won the League Cup. Even Bradford City got to the League Cup final when they're in League Two. So I want us to do something like that. I want to go and win something. I want to win the FA Cup or the League Cup or maybe try and finish it in the top 7, top 8 again. Obviously, the top 7, top 8 thing will be so difficult. Of course, it will. But I think we can try and win something, especially if we try and win the League Cup. FA Cup as well these days. It's not as respected by teams like fans and teams like yourselves as much as it used to be. But I want to see. That's the one thing I haven't seen Burnley do. They've never won a major honour, and I want to see them win a major honour. I've seen them do everything now. I never want to see them win a major honour.
Great achievement for yourself and for Burnley too. And they've got the manager. They've got a great team there. So if you can hold it all together and hold the same players and maybe nick a couple, maybe 3 players, or you could maybe see that next season, Joe.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, if players do leave as well, we bounced back from that before. Like, look, Danny Ings left not so long ago after we got relegated. Same with Kieran Trippier. Obviously, he went to Tottenham. We've had big names leave before, and we've bounced back as well. So hopefully, if these big names leave, we can bounce back again without going down. Hopefully this time, but hopefully so. That's definitely what I'd like to see.
Yeah. What about yourself, Addy? How do you think Bournemouth's going to do for the rest of the season? And then, hopefully, if you stay up, what's your ambition for next year?
Well, I mean, you guys, you're talking about winning trophies. I'd just be happy to win a bloody game. So, I mean, for us, obviously, our number one priority is to stay in the league. I don't care if it's on goal difference. That's the number one priority. If we do go down, I think our priority is obviously to get back up as soon as possible. If we stay up, again, as for Bournemouth, I think our biggest ever achievement will be, to really consolidate and not be in this trouble again. So, I mean, 10th place really has got to be like what I think every Bournemouth fan will be over the moon with. So it's a tough one for us because we're not going to be one of them teams that are going to challenge for the European places. Well, probably not in my lifetime. So yeah, it's just for us just stay in the league. That's all. I think Bournemouth fans, we don't get too far. We don't get to think too far ahead. Just stay in the league. That's it.
Do you know what, Addy? I just found myself being very patronising then, because it weren't so long ago that me and Diesel were wishing that we could just win a game at our ground and all, under the rubbish manager that we had, who we could have sacked when we lost to Chelsea in Baku. So I mean, really, we was in at the beginning of the season. We was in that state, to be honest. You know what I mean? And if it weren't for Aubameyang, then we would have still been down there fighting relegation still now, mate, to be honest. So, well, we was quite lucky that we got rid of him when we did. We should have got rid of him a lot earlier. For me, we've got a great manager in there. I do believe in Arteta. I do believe that once he settles in, gets his own players in, and hopefully our board back him, we could become a force again. I'm not saying that we're going to do that over the next 2 years or whatever, but if he gets the backing that he deserves, this could be really good for Arsenal in my eyes. I don't know how you two see Arteta. How do you see him, Joe?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think eventually it will come good. I think, like I said, you just write this season off now, and he needs backing. He needs to make his own squad, and that's when you judge him. Obviously, he doesn't have his own squad at the minute. Judge him in 2-3 years when he's built his own team. You've had him for long enough, and if he's still finishing 9th and 8th, then maybe it's time to move on and get somebody else. But I think by then you'll definitely be back amongst the top 6, because it was always a top 4 back in the day, weren't it? But I think now it's fair to say it's a top 6, and obviously Man City and Liverpool are the top 2, and then the rest of the 4 tend to battle it out underneath, and I think you can get back to that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, mate. I would like to give him at least 2-3 years. I don't know about our fan base at the moment, because Some of them are writing him off already, but you know,
it's stupid. Not unless the results are absolutely horrendous, and there's no fart from the players, and it looks like the players don't want to play for the manager. Then there's no point in getting rid of a manager so soon. Always give them at least 2-3 seasons, unless the situation occurs like it did, obviously, as you mentioned with your previous manager. You want to see fart from the players. If there's fight there, then you know, then there's something. Then you've got the main ingredient, and then you can get the manager to try and build his own team around that, hopefully.
Yeah. Cole from Newcastle. I think is it
Newcastle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our good friend Carlos.
Yes. He said, according to Sky, Uber's been offered a new deal. Well, I've been saying this for a long time. I do believe that Uber and Saka have already signed a deal. And just like Arsenal do, they probably won't announce it until the deadline day of the last day of the transfer window, because that's how Arsenal bloody act our club. You know what I mean? But I that doesn't surprise me. I don't know about you, Diesel.
No, I think it's wrong. Listen, you know, we're if you look at what we're going through at the moment, there's a lot of doom and gloom at the moment. If that is true and he has signed, I personally don't believe it. I think he's going. But if that is true, why wouldn't they announce it now and give the Gunners, you know, give us fans a lift? I think it's wrong, you know, personally. I just wanted to say as well, right? Because I know a lot of these smaller clubs get a lot of stick, whereas obviously they've got my respect. When Leicester won the league title, right, that showed me that anything was possible. Yeah. So Joe, you know, when you're saying there, mate, about you know you'd like to win a cup, albeit whether it be the FA Cup or just a cup, some sort of cup in your lifetime, be nice to see it. I look at that Leicester team and what I'm crying out for, me personally, individually as a fan, as an Arsenal fan, is I'm done now with these with the fancy Dans. I'm done with these names, you know, the so-called big names. I want hard-working players. I want players who graft. You know, they haven't got to be, you know, big names and obviously, you know, revered around the world. I just want a team of 11 hard-working players who fight and battle for each other every game on that pitch, right? Whether it's home or away. And I look at that Leicester team, and a lot of them, if we're honest, none of them, not one player in that team was world class, right? Some of them were freebies, yeah, but they had that team spirit, right? And just off the back of me watching The Last Dance, yeah, that Michael Jordan documentary, right? You know, and it's even more so in my mind now when I'm thinking, when you've got a team who have got each other's backs, right? That, I'm telling you now, don't underestimate that. That goes a hell of a long way. You know what I'm saying? And that is what I crave for now, you know? Yeah. And to be honest, if I see, look at Burnley, right, for example, yeah? Sometimes you have a big slump and there's even calls, you know, Sean Dyche, he's lost it, he's lost the dressing room. All of a sudden, you guys come out fighting and swinging again. Every time. Know, and I look at your players and they run through walls for that man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'd love to have that. You
know? We do have it. We do have it. And I can't mention any names because I'll get in trouble. But I have a friend who's on the podcast with me, Simon. It cuts the hair of a few of the Burnley players and some other players of other teams as well. A player from another team.
Nobody's free, Joe.
These players from these other teams sometimes talk to him, and these are big teams as well. They're not just other Burnleys or Wigan and Blackburn and Preston. You know, teams around here. He cuts some really good haircuts, and they'll say to him like, "Oh, I wish we had that at what Burnley have, that camaraderie." Because obviously all the footballers around here, they all live in Cheshire and stuff like that, so they all know each other as well. Yeah. So they all see each other in coffee shops and stuff. And this particular player said he saw a lot of Burnley players in a coffee shop, and they're all laughing and joking and together, getting in a car together, going training. And he said to my mate, "I saw all your players the other day in a coffee shop in Altrincham, I think it were." He said, "Oh, they look so close. I wish we had that. We just don't have that. We all go to training on our own. We barely speak to each other." This just shows that that's what Dyche does, though. That's what Dyche does. He builds this mental attitude around his squad and things like that, and then, like you said, they fight, they run through walls for him and for the team, and that's exactly what we have, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree.
Colonel Ward here said we should sign Malin and Kyver until Uber and Saka sign up or fuck off. Enough of players running our club. No, I totally agree with that.
I agree with that.
If they have turned around to the club and said, "Look, I don't want to sign the contract," then yeah, that's fine. Let's get rid of them. I don't believe they've done that. I don't believe that they've said that. It would, like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if they're signed already, and we've just got to wait until that Arsenal want to announce it, because unfortunately, Arsenal have the power to tell these players that you can't say anything until we want to. And that's unfortunate about it. I mean, that's happened so many times at our club. But I don't know if they don't want to be here, off you go. It's as simple and easy as that. Kuram said Terry Jones said he would like fight Israel next year if the price is right. Who do you fancy? Is that Connor and Jones you're on about, Kuram? Let us know. You a UFC fan, Joe?
Not particularly, to be honest. No, I've got a few friends at work who are into it, so I'll do sometimes. Say if a big card will be on or whatever, I'll try and give it a watch. But to be honest, I think the last 3 times I tried to stay up, I fell asleep. So not managed to watch too much of it, unfortunately.
What we got here? Lifestyle Londoner. And on only the master hostage taker Ozil runs our club. Well, listen, look, we touched on it a little bit earlier on, Joe. Give us your thoughts on Ozil. I mean, what are your actual thoughts on him?
As a player, his quality. I mean, obviously, I don't know too much about what goes on behind the scenes at Arsenal. You boys will know more. Obviously, someone's just called him master hostage taker. I'm not, again, really sure what that is in reference to, but again, you boys will know. But I can only go off what he is as a player. He obviously goes missing in big games. That, I think everyone knows that. It's not even a joke amongst Arsenal fans. It's a joke amongst the entire Premier League. He does tend to go missing in big games, and the games can bypass him. But I think if you get him on the ball, he's absolutely quality. He reminds me, and obviously a lot higher scale, to what we had with Stephen Defoe. Like when you get Stephen Defoe on the ball, he was probably, in terms of quality, probably one of the best players I've ever seen in the Burnley shirt. But because the Premier League is so rough and stuff like that, it can sometimes bypass him. And I think Ozil's the same, to be honest. Yeah,
no, I get where you're coming from. Just quickly going on what they're saying about Bones and Jones and Conor McGregor. Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, John Jones has had enough chances anyway in the UFC. He's a couple of times, I'm sure it's him, who's failed a drug test a couple of times. And, I think Dana White's got had enough of him now anyway. So it remains to be seen if he'll let him fight again. But it'd be interesting if McGregor do fight. I'd like to see it, just to let Conor shut him up. That'd be nice. Yeah, listen, boys, we've been going for over an hour now, so I think we're going to call it a day. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of internet problems tonight. We've lost Addy. Joe, I just want to say thank you very much for coming on and being our representation for Burnley. You've been absolutely brilliant tonight, mate.
No, thank you. Like I said, it's a privilege for you to ask me, and I'm glad you did. I'm glad you found me.
No, yeah, definitely, mate. And everyone, go shout yourself out, Joe, and your podcast out, and let them know where they can find you, mate.
Yeah, so obviously I'm more of a podcast, or that's where we started, just called it Turfcast Podcast. But now I've started doing a bit more videos, mainly because of lockdown. I started doing, obviously, my interviews, all the Skype and things like that, and creating a vodcast. So I've done that. And I've started doing some quiz shows every week as well, on live on Facebook. Obviously, Arsenal fans won't get too many questions, right? Because it's always about Burnley, to be fair. So you don't have to come and watch me do that. But just give me on YouTube, find me on there, because we're doing more stuff on YouTube now. I'm going to try and do more stuff when lockdown's over as well, when I can go and speak to more people and stuff like that. But obviously, something that Arsenal fans will be interested in. I did speak to the legend Ian Wright earlier in the year, just before lockdown. I went to go meet him in Manchester at Classic Football Show. Did an interview with him. Spoke all about his time at Burnley, because obviously that's where he retired. Went to Burnley last. I've got a signed Ian Wright shirt upstairs. Obviously, it's a Burnley one. Got Wright 33 on the back. Going to sign it. So if any Arsenal fans want to hear about Wright's time at Burnley, then that's the place to do it. Just type in Turfcast Ian Wright on Google, and I'm pretty sure you'll find it. If not, just go to Turfcast on your podcast provider, and it is on there.
Oh, excellent. I'll definitely give that a watch, mate, because he's definitely a big legend for Ian Wright. He's classic.
Joe's my favourite all-time player, Ian Wright.
Yeah, absolutely gent as well. It were him that he didn't reach out to us as such, but he put something about his Burnley days on Twitter. Then one of my friends said, "Oh, I'd love to hear you speak about your Burnley days, right?" And he said, "Oh, get me on a podcast then." And then a few people tagged me in it. A few people tagged another Burnley podcast in it. And then he reached out to us and said, "I'll be happy to do both of you." Then he said, we'll do this place and that place, and he has a representative called Roscoe who was more than accommodating as well. And yeah, like I said, we went to, I think it was Classic Football Shirts in Manchester, their warehouse, and just sat there because they were doing something for a TV broadcaster there. Can't remember which one, but yeah, it's really, really nice, man. And he just laughs all the time as well when he's telling stories and stuff. So it's really infectious. It's really good to meet him and stuff. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, so everyone, go over and give that a watch because that'd be very interesting. I know I definitely will, and I'm sure Diesel will.
Straight after this, mate.
Just to let you know what the concept is, Joe, I think I told you backstage, but just to let any Burnley fans know that if they're watching or they come and watch afterwards, you know, what we're going to do is once the season's back up and running, we're going to do this show every Monday night. So over the weekend, we're going to pick 2 of the best games that's happened or controversial games that have happened, and then get the representation of them teams, and then come on the Monday night show and we talk about them games, and obviously the Arsenal game who we've played, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of you on our channel, mate.
Hopefully. I'm sure if we get a few big upsets, I think our first game back to Man City. So if we manage to get an upset there, I think you might end up getting me on. But it's a shame the Bournemouth fans gone as well, because a very controversial game at Turf Moor early in the season, weren't they? When Burnley beat Bournemouth 2-1 or 2-0, I can't remember what it was. But they had 2 goals chalked off by VAR, and I think we had a goal given by VAR. So it was very controversial. So that were quite interesting. I'd like to get his thoughts on that if he was still here, but that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, that was very controversial.
We're trying to sort that back
That's
out.
why he left. He knew that question was coming up, Joe. Yeah. That's why he went, mate.
Yeah,
always a pleasure, Diesel, to have you next by my side, mate. Won't be the same without you.
No, it's always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure. And just thank you to Joe and to Addy and to obviously Claude earlier on. And once again, you guys in the chat, you never cease to amaze us. Brilliant. Great comments. And do you know what I like about our chat room, Tells? The fact that no matter who we get on, a rival fan or a channel of another team, they're always accommodating of our guests. And for me, that's class. It's classy. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Well, Joe, just to let you know, obviously, we do get a lot of feedback after the show and all, and we've had nothing but love for the shows that we're doing at the moment. And like a lot of people are saying, they can't wait until the football's back, because this show, they reckon, is going to be a really good show to have on, especially with other fans from other channels, and talk about the game itself.
Yeah, it's a good idea, lads. Definitely is. It's good to get people on to chat from different backgrounds always. I think, obviously, like I do my podcast, but it's me and one of my friends I've known all my life, who's obviously also a Burnley fan. We do have plans to get like opposition view on, but obviously every podcast pretty much does opposition view and stuff. So getting this on where you all chat and have like an hour's chat, it's just a sort of chat that I think is always infectious as well. Like you just chatting like you're down the pub. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but that's exactly what it is, and that's what people like, and it's a good idea, definitely.
No, once again, Joe, we're just thanks a lot for accepting to be our representation of Burnley. And as I said, you've been a very, very great guest coming on tonight. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks, mate. It's been a pleasure as well.
Cheers, Joe. Nice one, mate.
Just want to say thank you again to everyone in the chat. You've been absolutely wonderful again tonight. Nothing but love. We really do appreciate it. Even the super chat and all, unbelievable. Once again, thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. And look out for our next show. It might be tomorrow, Wednesday. We will be doing the live watch-along on the UFC again, early hours Saturday night, Sunday morning, and we'll probably be doing a watch-along of one of the German games. So keep a look out. Go and press the subscribe button on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Don't forget, we are also live on OpMic. If you go to the Apple Play Store or Google Play Store, download OpMic, put in our code CBS301. That signs you up to our channel. It's all free, doesn't cost anything. And then you can sync up your app to your TV when we do live watch-alongs, and you can listen to Claude and the Bansta's commentary through your TV instead of boring old Michael Owen, Steve McManaman, Dempsey, or any of them lot. They're all boring. You'd rather listen to us, people. So get yourself over there, download OpMic, CBS301, and that will sign you up to us. And then once you're signed up, go over to Anfield Agenda and all. Craig and Connor, very great friends of ours, helps us out a lot, big themselves up, and they should have got an award for the content they do. So big up Craig and Connor for the work they do over there at Anfield Agenda. So that just leaves me to say thank you, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Tell. How
Yeah,
are we
go
going
on.
to sign out? Because Claude ain't here. How are we going to do it? I reckon myself, you, Tell, and Joe at the same time should just shout out, "It's time to go." What do you reckon?
Are you up for that?
Yeah, I'll do it. Just say when, and I'll do it.
I'll tell
All
you what. Let's do it all individually. Like do an impression of Claude. Go on, Diesel. You go first.
It's time to go.
Go on, Joe.
It's time to go.
And finally, it's time to go. Thanks a lot, everyone.
We're going to put that to a vote. Who was the best? But anyway, yeah, cool.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Cheers, let's see
Cheers,
you in a bit.
guys. Love you all.